As we discussed in the last poll, our military forces were crushed with alarming ease. Any weapon forged of steel corrodes when exposed too long to the cryospore. Drones and helicopters, machines meant to dominate the skies, were torn from the air effortlessly by predators. Flamethrowers managed to sear through the fleshdrudges, but then came the swarm gnawers. They leapt, descended in droves, and ripped through our soldiers with savage efficiency. To halt their economy, we must face more than just one enemy. We battle endless fleshdrudge waves, predatory bioforms at every turn, and the ever-choking fog of cryospore. All of them are tasked with one purpose: to defend the Hive and its growing network of node chambers. But this war is far from over. We are not finished here. We will adapt. We will strike again. This time, our target is clear: the node chambers, spreading everywhere like a plague. If we are to survive, we must destroy them.
Approaching them is no longer the best path. This time, we will unleash long-range weaponry, yet the thick fog shrouds the battlefield, making it difficult to pinpoint the cryoseep's location. The moment our ballistic missiles cut through the air, the silence is broken. Suddenly, hordes of fleshdrudge and predator-class bioforms emerge from the mist. But this time, something is different. Among them rises one far stronger, far more grotesque. A towering brute hurls a strange cystic sac. Upon impact, it erupts into a cloud of cryospore, ripping our forces apart in chaos. This abomination is no ordinary fleshdrudge. It is a labor predator class, a fleshdrudge that has long devoted itself to the Hive, and at a certain stage of service, it mutates into this monstrosity. Much like the predator class of before, but still retaining its graft sac, it continues to carry raw material for the Hive. Its gaping jaws are not meant for biting, but to unfurl a siphoning organ that drains biomass and matter from its victims. Its ossiclaw is forged like a scythe, a sharpened edge with a hooked tip, lethal in close combat, yet equally efficient at processing biomass. And there, festering upon its abdomen, lies the flesh-casing sac, a tumor swollen with cryospore, birthed from a node chamber. With its claws, it rips the sac free and hurls it like a grenade, detonating a mist of death across the field. Even in death, this horror does not grant mercy. Should its tumor remain intact, it will detonate upon its demise, releasing another cloud of poison into the air. But worse still, it is more intelligent. No longer a mindless drone, it possesses semi-autonomy, choosing between combat or transport, deciding its prey, shifting its purpose with dreadful precision. Its roles are many: a laborer, hauling resources, repairing structures, harvesting and seizing hosts; a predator, fighting and defending territory with brutal efficiency; a siege support, bombarding fortifications and entrenched prey with flesh-casing sacs. This is the evolution of horror, where once the Hive's weakest soldiers could already overwhelm our forces. Now, their upgraded labor alone can crush entire battalions. Our army was annihilated. Cryospore detonations poisoned our men. The ossiclaws and dreadpouncers butchered the survivors. Now, all we can do is wait, praying that our artillery strike finds its mark and destroys the node chamber we targeted. And yet, in the silence of the fog, hope feels like nothing more than a dying breath. We succeeded in striking the node chamber with artillery, yet our accuracy was crippled by the radar-jamming veil of cryospore fog. The battlefield lay shattered in ruin, but the damage was not nearly enough. Here, the cryoseep revealed another horror: its lymphatic system. Lining its nerve flesh are cyst-like sacs, swollen and grotesque. These are the lymphatic sacs. Each one brims with substranium slurry, graftocytes, and hemolymph-like fluids. Their purpose is nightmarish: to respond to cellular damage caused by foreign infections or toxins, to seal wounds with living tissue, to fuse flesh to bone or bone to hive substrate, and worse, to enforce corruption, infecting and rewriting any uninfected cells that dare to survive. From within, the carno-organica glands release dreadful hormones, shifting the body's state between growth, repair, and aggression. Reviverin, forcing tissue to knit together rapidly, even after catastrophic trauma. Mycotonin, spreading mycelial filaments across wounds like a creeping fungus. Hemotropin, rerouting blood and hemocrypt into regrowing zones. Cryptocline, igniting hive-wide fever, raising metabolic heat to burn toxins alive. As with all Carnorganica, the cryoseep is intolerant of any pathogen. Even alien infections from other worlds cannot survive inside it. When a pathogen intrudes, the hive retaliates, dissolving its membranes with graftase, breaking it down into nutrient slurry, rewriting stray proteins into substranium-compatible forms. The lymphatic sacs do more than filter invaders. They quarantine them, drowning them in enzymes until they are either digested or assimilated into spore form. Other hormones strike with precision: cryptocline, burning pathogens with fever; reviverin, hyper-repairing tissue faster than infection can spread; hemotropin, starving invaders by diverting blood and hemocrypt away. But this defense is more than survival. The cryoseep learns. Carno-organica does not simply neutralize infection, it steals from it. Useful enzymes, new spore forms, even alien methods of infection. Graftocytes splice these fragments into the cryoseep's substranium code. This is how new substrains are born, by sampling their rivals and then turning their weapons against them. And so, no biological weapon holds power here. Even artillery wounds knit shut within hours. But we are not finished. The hive has endured this strike, and soon we will deliver them a far deadlier surprise. To sustain its existence and prepare for yet another expansion, the cryoseep requires more than brute force. It needs an economy, a resource system that rivals empires. This is the cryoseep's graft covenant system. There is no harvest residuum sharing. Every drop of hemocrypt harvested from a host flows directly to the next host's node chamber. There is no minimum distance between node chambers. They can grow side by side, like tumors spreading unchecked. Management, fleshdrudge coordination, and bioform upkeep all are handled by the local next host itself. But no matter what, every next host must submit to the cryoglyph sigil, a neuroglyph belonging only to the cryoseep. Through this covenant, next hosts are required to implant all glandular constructs, bioform sacs, and substranium slurry taken directly from the cryoseep, ensuring uniform cryosecretion strains and metabolic dependence. The very design of the node, its OSSI architecture, skeletal layout, and internal anatomy must follow the cryoseep's decree. The covenant binds each next host for 3 full cycles of neuroservice. Renewal requires only the transfer of a neuro fee. No regrafting is necessary, for the ossiflesh remains compliant unless decay takes it. From this, the truth becomes clear. The cryoseep's focus lies in strengthening its supply chain. The rise of the labor predator fleshdrudge accelerates this chain, while spore divers ferry resources faster than before, and the costs are carved into living flesh. Spinal deposit, 6%. Neuro fee, 2.6 to 3.4% per cycle. Glandular constructs and bioform sacs, 24.3%. Node chamber, bioarchitecture, 43 to 57%. Substranium starter, slurry, 14.3%. then continuous over time. Fleshdrudge neuromod reprogramming, 0.4%. From these figures emerges a grotesque economy. The greatest yield comes from substranium distribution. Second, hemocrypt intake siphoned through flesh casing dispersal, cryptoglyph, and node chamber architecture. Less than 1% comes from direct bioform cryosecretion to suspected hosts. Yet, internally, the hive wastes almost nothing. Only 4% of its bioresource drain goes to fleshdrudge upkeep. A perfect system, one that sustains itself endlessly, one that supports its ecosystem and forges an empire of living corruption. But tonight, our surprise strike has landed. The airstrike pierced the fog, and though not perfectly precise, one of the node chambers, still vulnerable, was annihilated. Our plan has succeeded, for now, but many chambers remain, and to end this plague, we must burn them all. Tonight, I will show you something both astonishing and terrifying. The truth about the cryosphere's central cortex. The hive possesses an intelligence comparable to a human tactician. It can make decisions at a strategic level, just as our commanders do. But unlike us, it does not think beyond its biology. It never panics, it never tires, it has no politics. Its intelligence is perfectly distributed through pheromones, nerve roots buried beneath the flesh soil, and bioform hormones. This grants it flawless situational awareness. It gathers input from fog, roots, and nerve veins, then issues precise commands to its bioforms. For example, disable the tank. Do not waste biomass destroying it. Strike the wheels. Force abandonment. The cryosphere does not invent new technologies. Instead, it adapts with biological speed. Its genome is modular, like plug-and-play code. No waiting for slow mutations. The hive can switch gene modules on or off depending on stress. For instance, if a fleshdrudge burns, the hive responds instantly, activating heat shock proteins already stored deep within its genetic library. And when its bioforms die, they are not wasted. Their tissue dissolves, and nodes recycle the DNA fragments to accelerate recombination. 999 strains may fail. One survives acid or fire. That one is mass-produced, the survivor multiplied into a new weapon strain. The hive can run thousands of evolutionary experiments in a single day, and resistance that once was rare becomes battlefield standard. This is not slow evolution. This is rapid biological reaction, a living system of adaptation that never stops. Yet its bioforms are not intelligent as individuals. Fleshdrudges are merely extensions of the hive. They repair, they attack, they patrol, they harvest, without thought. Even the mighty frostmaw, born from an infected dog, has no intelligence equal to its origin. It does not understand why it disables a tank. It only obeys the hive's command. Strike the vulnerable wheel. And with hive direction, its brutality becomes purpose. Its instinct becomes precision. There is one exception, the Nex hosts. Nex hosts do think like humans, because once they were human. Now integrated, they can infiltrate, conspire, plan sabotage, and manipulate entire societies. They are the cryosphere's political and economic generals, spreading its corruption through strategy, propaganda, and deceit. When combined, they form a superorganism of pure genius. The hive as strategist and tactician, bioforms as extensions, specialized tools that execute without error. Next hosts adding the true cunning, infiltration, sabotage, psychological warfare. Together, they are unstoppable. Yet tonight, our soldiers were ready. The cryospore fog had lifted, one node chamber destroyed, but victory seemed closer than ever. We moved forward. But at dawn, the fog returned, a heavy, choking shroud. rolling in without warning. Our soldiers were trapped within it for an hour, and then the predator-class bioforms closed in. The ambush was merciless. Not one survived. What is happening? Is this simply a counterattack, or have we walked willingly into their trap?